The honourable member for Richmond.
Mr. Speaker, residents in Richmond County and the Strait area are looking for answers after 5 separate power outages took place yesterday. Schools were cancelled, meals were ruined, and everyone was left frustrated. Power outages also took place earlier in the week, all at a time when the weather was favourable for this time of the year. And yet this week, residents in Richmond County and all Nova Scotians learned that they are expected to pay an additional 6.1% on their power bills as of January 1st, 2012. So my question is, will the Premier explain to the residents of Richmond County why they should pay an additional 6.1% to Nova Scotia Power in the face of such poor service?
Honourable the Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I would hope on behalf of his constituents he's raised these issues directly with Nova Scotia Power, and they of course have a maintenance facility, and they have a maintenance budget which they use to try and strengthen the grid. But that's the only suggestion that I can make to the member. What I can say is that he should tell his constituents that the government is working hard to get off the roller coaster of unpredictable rate increases by reducing our reliance on fossil fuel and ensuring that we have stable, long-term energy rates that will be good both for residents and for businesses.
Honourable member for Richmond on his first supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, power is an essential service and a basic necessity. While Nova Scotians understand power outages may occur in storms, it's hard to justify the repeated power outages that took place yesterday and earlier this week in Richmond County. Residents are rightfully asking, if repeated outages are taking place in mild weather, what are they to expect once winter fully sets in? The response from this NDP government is to hide behind the Utility and Review Board, while Nova Scotians are asked to pay an additional 6.1% for such poor, unreliable service. So my question again to the Premier is, when will the government demand that Nova Scotia Power make upgrades and investments to their infrastructure in order to maintain a secure power system for all Nova Scotians?
Honourable the Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's a private company. It's not a department of government. Mr. Speaker, I would yesterday the power was out in Cole Harbour, Mr. Speaker. When that happens, of course, I want to know the reasons why, and if it's going to continue to be a systemic thing, I make representations to the company and ask them to ensure that the appropriate upgrades are made. I would recommend that to the member opposite.
The honourable member for Richmond on his final supplementary.
You know, Mr. Speaker, this is the government that continues to allow Nova Scotia Power to have a monopoly in this province. In doing so, they know it's a basic necessity for Nova Scotians. They've had 2 years now, 2 long years, to break the monopoly. Had they wanted to, they've chose not to do so. When we see kids being sent home because of power outages in mild weather, this government should be paying attention and should take notice, not telling the people of Richmond County, call Nova Scotia Power. Mr. Speaker, if Nova Scotians are going to continue to see rate increases, this government has a responsibility to demand to the Utility and Review Board that Nova Scotia Power upgrade its infrastructure and make the necessary investments. So again, my question to the Premier, in light of 5 power outages in one day, school cancellations, and the misery that caused yesterday, will the Premier finally demand to the Utility and Review Board that Nova Scotia Power make the necessary investments to their infrastructure?
Honourable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not really sure where the member opposite was going with that question. You know, the reality is that in most provinces, the utilities are monopolies. In this province, of course, there's a slight difference because we have municipal utilities that do provide service to some to some of the municipalities. Mr. Speaker, he would know that the way that the rate base is decided is by investments that go into the rate base. So what he's saying is to increase, I assume what he's saying is either increase the investment in the grid, which I'm sure Nova Scotia Power would be happy to do because that's how they make their case for higher rates, Mr. Speaker. So, and I don't think that's really what the member wants is higher rates, although I do note that he voted against taking the HST off of home electricity.